everybody, my name is Kimberly and I am so glad that you are here. I'm really excited to tell you about one of our very favorite adult-only resorts in the Cancun area, Atelier Playa Mujeres. My husband and I have been to Atelier Playa Mujeres 2 times in the past 2 years, and while we don't have it on the schedule for 2025, I definitely think we'll make it happen in 2026. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how we spent our days, let you know everything the resort has to offer, get you through some logistics. Do watch out for some cheat sheets because you'll definitely want those if you decide to visit. And at the end, I'm also going to just speak a little more on some special considerations you may want to consider if you're not quite sure if Atelier is a good match for you yet. All right, let's start with some logistics. Atelier is located about a 40-minute drive north of the Cancun airport in a gated area called Playa Mujeres. There are a lot of other adult-only and family-friendly resorts in that area. Atelier is about 600 rooms, which might seem a little large, but actually it's so well spread out, it never feels like it's crazy crowded, which is one of the reasons of many that we love it so much. For the rooms at Atelier, they come in Inspira and non-Inspira. In the non-Inspira category, there are two options: a junior suite, one with a garden view, one with an ocean view. And then the Inspira rooms are rooms that are gonna have some sort of amazing amenity to them, whether that is a swim out or a plunge pool, a rooftop terrace, various different options. And those are the rooms that are going to come with those Inspira perks. So I wanna mention that just right off the bat, because if you're familiar with brands like Secrets or Excellence, you are used to being able to choose a room and then either choose it in the club level or not. And Atelier doesn't quite work like that. So their rooms that are not Inspira are their regular rooms. And there's no adding on Inspira perks to those rooms. If you want those perks, you do have to book one of those rooms with more amenities, and therefore the cost difference is pretty vast. So on both of our stays, we've done a non-Inspira junior suite ocean view. And I can't imagine really wanting for anything. We've had the most amazing experiences, and we're usually club kind of people. Like, we like to book and get those extra perks, but we haven't missed it with Atelier, and we just prefer to put our budget somewhere else. So again, this video, I hope, will help you figure out whether or not those perks would be important to you. The rooms are insanely beautiful, and most of the rooms will have kind of the same overall setup. It might just be that you have an upstairs or you have a larger terrace, but the base part of the room is pretty much the same throughout the different categories. The bathroom is huge. There are double sinks, a soaking tub, and a separate shower and toilet room. Now, the toilet room does close off completely. There are also sliding doors on both sides of the bathroom that will come together to completely close off the whole entire bathroom. And this is great if you prefer extra privacy or if you're traveling with someone other than your partner, because you will have complete privacy. Now, the room also has a full-size table for room service, a huge TV that you can move around if you want, and a desk and work area. And actually, during both of our stays, we were located in Building 2 on the 5th floor, like 3 rooms down from where we had stayed last time. And while I was a little bummed not to get to experience another part of the resort, it was a quiet area, it was a convenient area, so I figured why mess with a good thing, right? And our view was so pretty. As for amenities, non-Inspira rooms will have beer, wine, soft drinks, juices, and water in your fridge. There is an espresso machine as well as a variety of snacks. And on our first stay, things were just sort of automatically replenished, but on our second stay, we had to request what we needed through the website or make a call to the front desk. I want to take a moment real quick and tell you about this website. So Atelier does not have an app. They have a website. I'll link that down below in the description. And I highly recommend that you put this on your home screen when you are there so it's easily accessible. If you'd like to take a look at this website now, you can just continue as visitor to look at the menus, to look at the activity schedule. And once you're there, you'll actually have access to additional options such as making requests. your dinner reservations, communicating if you need something refilled, whatever it may be. And I really thought overall it was very user friendly and we didn't have any issues with it. So definitely make sure that you check it out before going and put it on your home screen so that you have it easily accessible. You'll use it constantly when you're there. All right, time to tell you how we spent our days. If you've watched my Beloved or Secrets video, you know I'd love to hit the gym first off. And the gym at Atelier is really, really great. Over to the side is this really large room area, and I would just usually take my mat, my weights over there, do my Peloton strength workout, stretching, yoga, and I just kind of had my own little world and my own little space. And by the way, make sure that you follow me on Peloton if you love it as much as I do. All right, so if you are someone that also loves group classes, your options are going to be pretty endless. They have everything from HIIT cardio to spin classes, stretching classes, TRX, tons of options. So you will always have a group class to attend if you prefer that type of workout. After a quick shower, it's time to grab some breakfast. All right, for every meal, I'm going to put up a guide like this so that you can get a full picture of all of your options and where they are located. Atelier has so many restaurants for each meal, and over our 2 stays, we've visited them all. But if I talked about each and every one this video, it would be way longer than it's already going to be. So instead, I'll leave you with this and then highlight a few of our favorites. We really do like to hit up a buffet for breakfast because we can just grab a quick bite and be on our way. And there are 2 amazing buffets at Atelier. Mercado 19 is going to be the larger one that's going to have more stations, more food options. However, the buffet in Building 3, La Consentida, is incredible. It's smaller, but it was actually the one that we found we liked best. But honestly, whichever one was closer to where we were hanging out for the day is where we would go, and it was perfect. Now, if you want to sit down, have a more leisurely experience, Suspiro is awesome. Not really a sweets for breakfast kind of person, but so many people had talked about this banana waffle explosion dish that I had to give it a try, and it did not disappoint. So definitely put that one on your list if you visit Suspiro. And then of course, we've had room service a couple of times and it's always been so fresh. I will probably say this a couple times in this video. I don't know how Atelier does it when it comes to room service. It is as good as sitting in the restaurant. It is so far superior to the room service at any other resort. I really would love to understand what their secret is, or actually I would like other resorts to learn what their secret is because it's just phenomenal. So for every meal, do not hesitate to order room service if you just don't feel like heading out. Now, at a lot of resorts, we love to spend our mornings at the beach, but I will say that the beach at Atelier is not our favorite. Not everyone shares our views though, so please do not take our feelings like as the overall. The beach here just isn't our vibe. We simply prefer the pools at Atelier over the beach, so that's where we tend to spend our lounging time. There are 2 pool options during the day if you are not in Spira. The first is the main pool, and it's enormous. It's so big that it has a swim up bar on either end. It's really fun to get a drink on one end and then walk to the other one while you enjoy your drink, chill at that bar, and then, rinse and repeat. There are a ton of loungers at this pool, and we've never had any issues finding space, but if you really want a Bali bed or a specific area, I would recommend getting there early, hanging out for a little while, before you run and get your breakfast. Now, the main pool is the more active pool. There's just a little more energy there overall, or at least in our experience. So if you want something a little bit quieter, you could head over to the pool in Building 3. There is still a swim-up bar, and it can get lively in the afternoon, but overall is a more chill vibe. The downside would be that because it's sort of tucked back further on the property, it just doesn't get as much breeze. So in the hotter days of summer, it can be a little stifling. If you are in Spira, you will have access to 2 additional pools. One is going to be the rooftop pool that also will have a special menu for lunch. And then there's also an Inspira pool that is located closer to the beach. It's a smaller pool, but it does have a swim up bar and is really pretty. So again, with the Inspira perks, you get a little extra, but I will go into a little more detail with both of those pools and all of the Inspira perks at the end of the video. Now, in the mornings, we're just relaxing. We're usually reading, floating around, chatting with other guests. But if you want some activities in the morning, they definitely have some options. We've seen Mexican lottery, there is a bike tour, ping pong, water aerobics. So you definitely can stay busy in those sort of pre-lunch hours if you don't just want to lay and read another book. Eventually, it's time to eat, and lunch might be my favorite meal at Atelier. But it can be really hard to decide what to eat. Of all of these options, I would say that my favorites are probably Suspira and Elba. At Suspira, you do not want to miss the coconut shrimp. They are incredible. And on both trips, we had to have the shrimp tacos, the fish tacos, the Cobb salad. So good. Elba has a deliciously healthy menu, and the ahi tuna and quinoa and salmon salads are wins for us. It's also just really cool in there, so if you need a break from the heat, it's such a good choice. Now, I didn't mention the coffee shops in the morning because we are usually ones who visit the coffee shops a little bit later in the day, and there are two to choose from. The larger one is Cafecito, and it is located in Building 1. It's beautiful there. It's also nice and cool if you just want to relax and get a break from the heat, and they have the best ice cream ever. And then in Building 3, there is a smaller coffee shop sort of set off the lobby called Azucar. And we've spent time sitting there playing some cards, enjoying some coffee. They have some gelato and ice cream as well. We've never sampled there. It's probably the same. But both coffee shops are excellent if you need a little pick-me-up in the morning, the afternoon, evening, or you're just looking for a sweet treat. There's quite a bit to do in the afternoons. Scott never misses a volleyball game, and there's beach and pool volleyball daily. Now, one really cool thing I got to do on the last trip was take a tour of like underneath the resort to like see how they make the magic happen. Like we got to visit the kitchens, and we got to see the laundry, and we got to see, all the things that they offer to their staff, and just how they make it seem like it just happens, right? Like, so it was really, really cool to get that behind the scenes tour. I just got lucky. I was just lounging, watching some volleyball, and one of the entertainment staff came over and asked if I would want to do it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is so in my wheelhouse. Absolutely, I want to do this. And we were there with our friends, Brittany and Kevin from Memories and Mojitos. And I knew, of course, that she would love to do it. So I was like, can my friend come? And they signed us up. So Brittany and I took the tour. We had the best time and learned so much. So I can't say that this is always offered, and it's certainly not really advertised, but it could be something that you could ask about. I don't know if we just got lucky, but who knows, right? It's worth an ask if it's something that you are interested in. Now, a little later in the afternoon, they do offer art classes around 4 p.m. There's something different every day. We did a paint and sip. And so they brought like their wines that you would normally have an upcharge for, like to buy a bottle like at dinner or something. And everyone was offered a glass, which I thought was really nice, right? It makes it a little more special to get an upgraded glass of wine. And then there was an artist there. So they do bring artists in. That is one thing about Atelier. The art is everywhere and it's so incredible. So they bring artists in to run these workshops. And we did a paint and sip. We drew a little seahorse. And he's not very good, but you know what? We had so much fun. It's definitely worth it. I would suggest checking it out. They have clay workshops and macrame and all sorts of things. So if that is your jam, again, make sure you get there early. If you are in Spira, your butler may be able to help with what time you should show up, things like that. But again, just show up early and you're gonna be fine. I've also seen dance lessons on the list, and also an art walk. So this is when someone would take you around and show you all of the incredible pieces, give you some of the history. This was something that I really wanted to do last time, and I just couldn't quite make it happen. So it's definitely on the list. However, we did visit the art gallery on a couple of different occasions, and this is a great thing to do anytime during the day. And the staff in the art gallery are so knowledgeable and gave us so much information and really did tell us about several pieces that are located throughout the property, that were located in Maria Dolores, one of the restaurants. And they are just so knowledgeable. So if you have an appreciation for art, whether you know much about it or not, we're certainly not experts, but we really did learn so much and we really enjoyed our time in the art gallery and learning about all of the beautiful pieces that are throughout this resort. Eventually, after having all that fun, it's time to head back to the room and get ready for the evening. Now, we always make sure to leave time before our dinner reservation to grab a pre-dinner drink, and Atelier has loads of options to grab your favorite cocktail. El Cielo is actually open to all guests after 6 p.m., and it's definitely where you want to go for a drink with a view. Now, I will add very quickly, you'll have about an hour to swim if you're having dinner later in the evening and you just want to enjoy that pool and the view. You can do that after 6 p.m. and until the pool closes, which I'm almost positive is 7 p.m. Now, if you'd rather have a drink with a show, then you'll want to head to Bar de Cal because those bartenders will not disappoint. You will not believe how talented they are. You can just sit there and watch them for hours. Now, Don Fernando is the lobby bar in Building 1, and the lobby bar in Building 3 is El Detelle. And actually, that lobby bar is probably one of our favorite spots. Also, outside of Building 1, there is Piccolo Bistro, and there you can get a glass of wine. Once again, you'll have some different options versus the everyday house wine. And a charcuterie platter. La Catina is another super option, especially if you love margaritas. And they have all of these little snacks to choose from. So it's a really good place if maybe your dinner reservations are a little later and you need a snack. And the bartenders there are so engaging. La Catina actually, I think, may have been our most visited pre-dinner drink spot on our last trip. So those pesky dinner reservations, yes, I know that this is a point of uncertainty for a lot of people. And I will admit, before we went to Atelier the first time, I was not a fan. When we booked Atelier, there were no dinner reservations. And by the time we went, they were put in place. And I was not happy about it, I'll be honest. It's not that bad. So the way that it works is you make your reservation for that particular evening and then 2 additional evenings. And you can do this through their website. You can do this on kiosks that are located all over the property. Now, I will say when you make your reservations, write it down, put it in your notes app. It's kind of annoying to go back through to find out where you're going and what night and what time. So I would definitely note that somewhere that you can easily reference. Before I go on with some tips and tricks with making reservations, I will point out that if you are in Spira, this is something that the butler will take care of for you. And I would certainly put that high up on the list of Inspira perks. However, again, it is doable. Now, I will say the day that you arrive, you're like, oh, you may think like there's no options. Go to Mercado 19 that night. That is the largest restaurant. There are always reservations open and the food is so good. So don't think just because there's a lot of reservations, it's not good. It just has the most seatings. So it's a great thing to do on night 1. And then you may not get, like you may think, oh, we want to go to the steakhouse on night 2. Well, you might not get to the steakhouse on night 2 at the time that you really want to go. So you may have to wait. Now, as soon as you wake up the next morning, you can make that reservation for the additional night. So again, you can always have 3 dinner reservations. And if you're a night owl, I do believe it resets at midnight. So you can always change it, if you wake up in the middle of the night. But again, we have gone at times of the year that the occupancy is, maybe 60 to 80%. We've never had issues. I will say that on occasion, truly on occasion, I do see that people are having some trouble. And this would be maybe, January or like super high season. But I have seen, especially if you're just a couple, people have had great luck going at opening, talking to the hostess, sort of, finding out if there were any cancellations. And then if you're really, really, really struggling, go visit the concierge desk. Like they want you to have a good experience. So go speak to them, talk to them, see if they can, squeeze you in. But of course, follow what you're supposed to do in the first place. Don't just ignore making reservations and then get upset that you can't get into the steakhouse when you should have tried 3 days ago, if that makes sense. So definitely follow their procedure. And if you're finding that their procedure is not quite working, definitely speak to someone and see if there's anything they can do to help you out. As you can see, you have a ton of dinner options. So I would suggest going in with a list of your priority restaurants and maybe, your B list, just so that you have a focus when you are making your reservations. Now, I did suggest Mercado 19 for your first night since it's the easier restaurant to get into, but I just have to give it special mention. I mean, it is one of our favorites. The street tacos, tamales, amazing margaritas. It's just so good. And it really is a great arrival day option.
Tomatillo, red sauce, green sauce, sour cream, cheese, coriander, raw onion, cooked onion, potato, cucumber, and lime.
Thank you. Now, you could also check out the buffet on your first evening. You do not need reservations to go to the buffet. So keep that in mind. You can pop in there anytime. And of course, room service is also a good first night option, especially if you are exhausted from travel. Truly, Atelier is some of the very best food that we have had at any all-inclusive resort. So overall, go with the cuisine that you really love. Make that your priority. Look at the menus, see what sounds good to you before you arrive. So again, you have that priorities list, you have that B list, and you know where you want to dine. And with that being said, I will also add that, sometimes when you're at an all-inclusive resort, it's a really good opportunity to take a chance, right? If you think you would like to try a cuisine that you've not really had before, try it. If it's not good, you're going to probably find something that you like well enough, right? And then you could hit up the buffet or get some room service if you need a little more food to eat. But it's a really good opportunity to try some things that maybe you've been curious about but haven't wanted to order at a normal restaurant at home and then regret spending the money. Now, I will say the only dinner restaurants we have not been to are Copai and Bikini Azul. We've done Bikini Azul for lunch and it was very, very good. And Copai is like #1 priority on my list for our next trip. As for our favorites, that's tough and it's also subjective. So take this with a grain of salt. But I would say Takashi is our #1, followed closely by Los Espressos, the steakhouse. We love Takashi because we love Asian food and there is just the full variety here. Whether you want sushi or you want Thai or you want Indian, they have a little bit of everything on the menu, so it's just amazing. Los Espressos, the steakhouse, is also a must in our mind. First of all, that salad bar is so incredible. I was obsessed with the bread and the blue cheese butter. I could practically make a meal out of it. Everything from the empanadas, the filet, the salmon, the desserts were just so good. And lastly, I have to mention Maria Dolores. Now, unless you are booked in an Inspira room for 7 or more days, you will pay extra for Maria Dolores. But if you are a true foodie and love diving into new experiences, it is beyond worth it. The restaurant has received a slew of prestigious awards and recognitions, and after a visit, we definitely understood why. Now, drinks are included as part of your all-inclusive package, so you are only paying for the food you order. The menu is a la carte, so you can pick and choose kind of how much you want to eat or how much you want to spend. You can see the menu on the website, and all of the prices are in pesos. Scott and I each had 4 courses and shared a dessert. And before tip, I want to say our total was somewhere around $200. And to us, it was more than worth it. We will 100% book it again. If you want to book and you do not have a butler, I would definitely speak to the concierge as soon as you arrive. They do not book more than 3 days out, just like making your reservations for the other restaurants. But I would speak with the concierge and see what might be available. If you already have other reservations, you can cancel those, move those around. Again, I would make it a priority if you are someone who just loves a good food experience. After dinner, we would love just like walking around, maybe going to get an after dinner drink. There's usually a lot of music. They may have like a singer songwriter outside Bar de Cal, or someone playing music in the lobby bar. I know there's also a casino night. El Cielo, almost always the Sky Bar, the like rooftop bar, almost always had music or a DJ. So there's lots to do sort of between dinner and then the time that the shows start. Now, the shows at the theater are nightly, and there's a variety of them. You have silent disco, karaoke, a rock band, sometimes more of like there was a Latin dance performance one evening. So there's a little bit of everything. I would just make sure, especially on the big nights like the rock show, which don't miss it. It's really, really good. And the silent disco that you get there, and they basically have to like line up until they open. I find this a little bit annoying, but it's the way they do it. So once you get into the theater, there is a bar in there. You don't have to go anywhere. They have a lot of really comfortable seating. After that, if you're more of a night owl than we are, you can stay for the DJ and there's dancing. And I've seen a lot of comments that people have a lot of fun, that it's a really good time, but we're done. Like if we make the show, we're doing great. So we're usually off to bed. Okay, if you're still watching, thank you. But also, that means that you are really considering Atelier. So I want to point out just a few more things to help you make your decision. So first of all, I want to talk about bracelets. Which definitely can be a deal breaker. I know for me, it was a hard no before Atelier. This resort has changed my mind on a lot of things. But once I was there and had it on, I realized it really was not that big of a deal. So this is what the non-Inspira bracelets look like. You can see that little guy right there. I don't think it's focusing, sorry. But that is your key. So that just goes up to the door. And then what I love about these is, obviously that moves to fit. And then you can wear it as tightly as you want. I shouldn't have had all these other bracelets on for this video, and it would have made it a lot easier. But I just tucked these in, these extra long pieces. I just tuck them in and I would get it nice and secure. And it was like, I didn't even know it was there. So it was really convenient for during the day. And then at night, when I didn't want it to mess with all my other bracelets, or, I didn't want the color to clash with what I was wearing, just throw it in my bag, just like I would if it were, a key card or anything else. So overall, I did not find the bracelets to be the big deal that I thought that they would be. Oh, the vacation club pitch. Yes. So there are a lot of all-inclusive resort chains that will try to entice you to join their vacation club. And you may be interested. And if you are, you should definitely go to the information session. Usually there is a massage or some other incentive to listen to the presentation, whether you sign up or not. That is not something we are interested in at all. And on our first trip, it was an easy no thanks. On our second trip, I felt like we had to be a little bit more like, no, we're really not interested, and a little like more definite about our disinterest than we did the first time. And we could have kept ourselves from even having to do that. And I don't know why I didn't think about it. So here's a little secret. When you check in, you kind of go off to the side into like these smaller rooms that are off the lobby. And then they will direct you to someone else will come get you, and they'll sit you down and they go over the map with you, which on your first visit is really helpful, and give you some like just resort logistics. But then they do the pitch. So I don't know why I could have just declined that on our second stay and just been like, we don't need the information, and just declined it, right? Like we don't need a map. We know where we're at. I don't know why we didn't. On our third stay, I definitely will say, no, thank you. We're good. We're checked in. We're ready to go. And so, you could do that on your first day too, I would imagine, right? Like if you know that you're absolutely not interested, don't go to the second person. Just figure out your way around on your own. Okay. So Speaking about finding your way around, I do see a lot of inquiries about the difficulty of getting around at Atelier. Now, it really isn't that difficult to get around unless you have some sort of mobility issue. What makes it more difficult is it's just a little bit confusing. Until a handful of years ago, there were two sides to this resort. There was a studio, which was family friendly, and Atelier, which was adult only. But they have converted it into all adult only. So there just isn't the cohesiveness that there would probably have been if it was always adult only. So it does take a few minutes to kind of get your bearings and understand what's on which floor and how to get from point A to point B. I would say it's like a good day, and then you know where you're at, and you can ask other guests, you can ask staff. We did notice there are some really helpful signs outside the elevators that were not there on our first trip. So those are definitely helpful for you to know what is located where. But again, if you don't have mobility issues, I don't necessarily see an issue with getting around Atelier. It's only that it's a little bit confusing at first. Before I get to the most asked question about Atelier, I do want to say that this resort is not a typical sprawling, beautiful Mexican vibe resort. So when I think of like Excellence Playa Mujeres, which has hands down the best landscaping of any resort that I can think of, it's just insane. Atelier doesn't have that vibe. It has a lot of greenery. It's very beautiful, but it is more about the design of their inside spaces and their focus on craftsmanship and art. So it's a different experience. So if you really want like those lush paths, Secrets Playa Blanca, Secrets Akumal, those might be a couple of resorts to also check out. In addition, like I said, Excellence Playa Mujeres, Excellence Riviera Cancun, and there's of course loads more, but I'm just speaking from my personal experiences. And so you might not be interested in Atelier if that's something that's really important to you. But again, the vibe that you do get, although it's very different, is very, very cool. So the biggest question that I see about Atelier and that I have personally been asked is Inspira worth it? Well, I can't really say yes or no because it's so subjective and it really depends what you are looking for in your vacation. So here's my advice. Like I said earlier in the video, Inspira is not a package that you can add on to a basic room. If it were, we'd probably have checked it out by now. It is something that comes with those higher level rooms. So if you really want an ocean view swim out, or if you want a rooftop terrace or an oceanfront room, then I absolutely would book that room and then enjoy those Inspira perks that come with the room. But if you are someone who is happy with just a basic room, an ocean view, and are not really planning on spending a ton of time in your room to enjoy those room amenities, then don't. That's the best advice I can give you when it comes to that decision. Now, what are the Inspira perks? You can definitely go on the website and get the whole entire laundry list. I'll point out a couple. So probably the biggest perk is that you have a butler assigned to your room. And that butler is going to be your direct contact for anything you need in the room, any issues with the room. They're going to help you with dinner reservations. They're going to help you if there's a specific activity that you want more information about, things like that. They're going to greet you every morning with the list of activities. And they're really just your point of contact, which is awesome. So that to me is the biggest perk of having Inspira, is just having someone that you can always reach out to directly. Another pretty cool perk is the in-room bar. Now, if you have an Inspira room, it's coming with, maybe a little plunge pool, or it's coming with a large terrace. And so you're gonna have extra liquor, you're gonna have upgraded snacks, you're going to have the things that you need to spend a little more time in that room, which is kind of cool. I mentioned earlier that there are 2 pools that are Inspira only. So you can be at the rooftop pool all day long if you choose to. Like I said, there's also a special lunch menu that is offered. So it is so beautiful. You can enjoy the view all day long. That's pretty cool. And there is that other pool that is a smaller pool, but like I said, it does still have a swim up bar, so you have access to that pool as well if you are Inspira. Like I said, if you are 7+ nights, you do get Maria Dolores included, and I believe it's 50% off if you're less than 7 nights. For every 7 nights you stay, you do get 2 rounds of golf. So if you're someone who loves golf, that could definitely be a selling point for you to go ahead and do the upgraded room. And then lastly, the last thing I'm going to mention, do check out the website for all the details, but you do get a free hydrotherapy session with your Inspira stay. Now, why didn't I talk about the spa earlier? I don't know. This is just really occurring to me. Really should have been earlier in my video, but I'll go ahead and say right now that you absolutely should visit the spa. And last I checked, you do still get a hydrotherapy when you book a massage or treatment. The spa is one of the best I've had at any all-inclusive. I don't know how it didn't make its way onto my outline, so I'm just gonna squeeze it in right here. So, thanks for sticking around. Truly, Atelier ranks so high up on our list. I hope you'll get a chance to go. Tell me in the comments if you've been, if you're booked, what you think about it. I would love just to have a conversation with you about this resort. Next up, we have Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres. So hopefully we will get a video out. That's definitely the plan so that we can share that experience with you as well. But I appreciate you guys being here. So I hope you'll check out all my other videos and subscribe, and I hope to see you again here real soon. Safe travels.